Hi everyone and welcome to Studio Design. My name is Lina and today's video is going to be another episode about polymer clay. Today I want to show you how I reused an old glass jar and created this mini pumpkin cottage using polymer clay. So let's get started. If you want to support me and my channel, please don't forget to hit the red button, like this video, leave a comment down below, and let's keep going. If you follow me long enough, you know how much I like projects where I can reuse some of the polymer clay scraps. And my favorite time of the year is coming up. I know it's a little bit early, but I decided to be prepared a little bit in advance this year. So I'm gonna start my Halloween projects already in August. And for today's project, I decided to make a cottage and shape it into the pumpkins. I created a draft on paper. As you can see, I'll have 3 levels of the pumpkins. Here my glass jar I'm gonna be using today and all of my polymer clay scraps. Now what I'm doing, I'm mixing them to make them of one color, and it's a lot to process all at once, so I divided them into 3 portions, and this is the colors that I got after mixing the polymer clay scraps. I'm gonna be using also the aluminum foil for today's project, just to add on the volume and not to use a lot of the polymer clay, just because it will be hard to bake a thick layer of the polymer clay. So first what I'm doing, I start creating the shape, the bottom layer of like the bottom level of the bottom pumpkin. I am wrapping around my glass jar and creating a sphere shape. The size of your sphere is gonna depend on the size of the glass jar. This is how my bottom level is gonna be looking like. After that, I'm flattening the clay on a 3rd or 4th level of thickness. So it's not super thin because we need to fill in some of the gaps and bumps that we have on the surface from the aluminum foil. Wrapping it around, adding out some extra if I have some like holes, or otherwise I need to even out the surface. And after the first level is done, I'm doing the same procedure with the 2nd level and just making it a little bit smaller. And here's how 2 layers are looking like. And what I'm doing next is I'm cutting out the windows. For that I'm using the craft knife and doing approximate shape of the window. And then the hard part here is take out the aluminum foil that's underneath. When I'm done with that, I'm just covering up the edges with a thin layer of the clay. And again, just spreading it out, make sure everything is smooth. This is how my cottage looks so far. And this hole right here is gonna be the future door. I decided not to cut out the all way into the glass. I just left it like halfway because I'm gonna add the door on top, so it doesn't matter. What I'm doing next is I start giving it some shape of the pumpkin. For that, I'm using just the back sides of my tools and creating little curves. I decided to make the third layer just a tiny separate pumpkin. In the same way, using the aluminum foil, I made this little pumpkin. After I'm happy with how my cottage looks like, I'm adding the base. For that, again, I'm using some of the aluminum foil, covering up with the clay, and then I'm adding this on the tray I'm gonna be baking my cottage on. Also adding some texture using toothbrush. I left this little hole on the bottom just because I wanna add on some lights into my cottage to take pictures. Okay, I secured my cottage on the base, and now I'm just start decorating, adding some extra small details. Like I'm adding this little bricks on the sides of the windows and on the door. For that, I just made two different sizes of the stripes, and I cut out the squares of the different sizes. Also here, I'm adding the door, some steps, some little pumpkins on the side, and any details that I feel like adding. Then one more time before baking, I'm going over the piece to see if everything is fine, if I need to adjust anything. And since the level of the clay is pretty thick, I'm gonna leave it in an oven for about an hour. And here's my baked piece. As you can see, it got a little bit toasted on the top. Alright, and now I'm taking my acrylic paints. And right after the black, I start adding the orange. I mix some of like a darker orange color. After the orange is dried, I'm adding some color like a gray-ish, greenish color to those little bricks around the door and the windows. And when I like how everything looks like, I'm leaving it to dry. And here's my final result. Look how cute this little cottage looks like. And if you add a little bit of the lights on the inside, it also looks like someone's in the house. Share with me in the comments if you like this tutorial, if you think that this is another good way to reuse some of the polymer clay scraps and the glass jar. And this is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Share with me in the comments below if you like this tutorial, if you like how my little cottage came out. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the red button, like this video, and we'll see each other in the next one.